Sonic and the Secret Rings. This is a very love-or-hate game in the Sonic series for fans because it's really more like a racing game than a Sonic game. Because basically it's got the sense of speed and everything, but you can only control Sonic going left or right and jumping, and if you want to go backwards in the level, you actually have to put Sonic into like a reverse mode where he walks backwards and everything. It's very awkward, very strange. The setting is like in a storybook Arabian world. Give it a chance though, you know, it's if you think of it outside of the Sonic genre, and you might actually find something that you like here. But definitely don't pay more than like $15 for this. Rayman Raving Rabbids. This was a great launch title for the Wii because it really took advantage of everything that the Wii Remote could do with the pointing and the waggling and the shaking and everything like that. It's nothing more than a simple collection of different mini-games, but it has a really funny sense of style to it. And a lot of the games are a lot of fun, and you know, picking up a Wii, this was a great title to go along with it. And even now, with like all the shovelware that's out there for the system, this one's still worth picking up much more than all those other ones. No More Heroes. I finally got around to playing this after not picking it up for a very long time after it came out, and I was very surprised with it. It's a great hack and slash action game that with a sense of style that's really like nothing else I've ever played before. I mean, granted I've never played Killer 7 before, but this is like a fusion of 8-bit graphics with like a cel-shaded look, but it all comes together to be like a really unique game, and the violence in this is, wow, there's a lot of blood squirting everywhere in this game. The characters are really unique and funny. Check this one out if you're a fan of brawler-type games. I've really never played anything like it before. Sonic and the Black Knight. I can only recommend this to hardcore Sonic fans because really, there's not too much content to it. You can beat it fairly fast, and it's not that great of a game, honestly. I mean, so unless you're really attached to the Sonic universe and everything like that, there's really not much to offer. Fans of Sonic and the Secret Rings probably already went out and picked this one up and are probably enjoying it, but don't pick this one up until you can find it for like $10 in the bargain bin. Final Fantasy Fables Chocobos Dungeon. This is like a semi-sequel to the Chocobos Dungeon series on the PlayStation, and I'd never played any of those games before, so this was my first in the series. This is a roguelike, but it's much more of a traditional and much more laid-back roguelike for the genre. It's grid-based dungeons, so every time that you make a move, your enemies make a move. So if you move one space, the enemies make a space. If you attack, they get a chance to attack. Death is not that big of a penalty in this game. It's not like they're resetting you all the way back to the beginning of the game and you're losing all your characters' levels and everything, but it's a fan service game for Final Fantasy fans. So if you're willing to take a chance on a new genre and don't expect it to be like any other Final Fantasy game you've ever played before, give this one a try because it has a great soundtrack, a lot of cameos from series characters and everything. It's worth a shot if you're a fan of the Final Fantasy series, I'll just say that. House of the Dead 2 and 3 Return. This is a great game to pick up because not only is it really cheap now, but it has House of the Dead 2 in it, and if you've never played that, it's a great arcade shooter. You also get House of the Dead 3, which I wasn't a huge fan of, but if you ever played House of the Dead 2 on Dreamcast or anything, it's done even better on here because you got the Wii Remote and everything. So if you never played it with a light gun before or in the arcades, here you go. This is like the perfect version to pick up. Give it a shot. Mario Kart Wii. Perhaps the best thing about this is that it's finally a Mario game on a console, not a handheld that has online. And unlike its predecessor, they took out that snaking element, so now like the playfield is much more even, which might be a good or a bad thing for those of you that have a competitive edge online. It's much more streamlined now and easier for newer players to get into, which I actually think is a good thing. I like Mario Kart 64 much better in terms of the series, but this is definitely leaps and bounds, in my opinion, better than Double Dash. I just wasn't a fan of that one too much. So if you're a fan of Mario Kart, definitely pick this one up, and just know that you don't have to play it with that wheel. You can use a GameCube controller, you can use a classic controller, the Wii Remote, Nunchuck, whatever you prefer. Excite Truck. This was a great game to pick up at launch. I really had a lot of fun with this one, especially because it felt really, really arcadey. The biggest draw about this one was that you can warp the terrain of the levels as you're driving. So, you know, you're driving along, you see a symbol, you hit that, and like a mountain will pop up in front of you, or you know, the ground will collapse below you. And it was really cool to have the terrain warping like in real time while you were racing. And it's a really fast game. It's got a really great draw distance. If you're a fan of arcade racers, even though this one's been out for years now, it came out at launch, you still got to try this one out. It's a really good racer. Elebits. This was originally supposed to come out at launch with the Wii, but it didn't, so it kind of killed a lot of my enthusiasm for the game. So I didn't get around to finally buying it until maybe about a year ago. And I'll just have to say that fans of games where, you know, you search for hidden objects and everything like that, I think you'll really get a kick out of Elebits, because the whole premise of the game is you're in a house as a kid and you have like this light ray gun where you're just like ripping apart your house, throwing objects everywhere just to find these little hidden Elebit creatures. And it's like crazy, brainless fun, but I would definitely recommend it. It probably will get boring after like 8 hours though, but it's still a fun experience. Geometry Wars Galaxies. I didn't get to play this one too much because honestly I didn't care for it that much. I still prefer the Xbox 360 versions of this, but if you don't have an Xbox 360, I would say maybe give it a try. It's a very fun arcade experience. They kind of added in some new modes and everything. But if you're a fan of games where you're just going for high score and everything, and you like games like Asteroids, but like more for the modern day today, I think you might like this one, especially if you've never played the series before. Red Steel. This is a game that got a lot of hate because it was sort of hyped up to be like the next biggest thing where you can have sword fights and everything. Of course, the sword fighting was a big letdown, but I kind of enjoyed this game. The shooting elements and everything like that I thought were pretty good. I didn't see why some people like absolutely despised this game. There were some levels that really stood out to me in here, like especially that wacky carnival level. I don't know what it was, but I thought it was designed pretty well. I had some fun with it. I never did beat it, but it was a very enjoyable game, especially to pick up along with my Wii on launch. Now, it might be a bit outdated, especially with Red Steel 2 coming out eventually, but it's still worthy of picking up if you see it for like $10. Knight's Journey of Dreams. I would actually only recommend this to fans of the original Knights on the Sega Saturn because Knights is a very different game. Today most people can't appreciate a style of game like this where it's basically a fly through the rings type game. There's really the platforming elements where you play as the kids in here aren't that good at all. They're actually pretty terrible. But the main premise of the game is you're flying around these 3D environments that are actually on rails, and the main objective is just to fly through rings and get points and enjoy the environments and just have fun flying around. But you don't do it, you don't have complete control over your character, which a lot of people these days probably wouldn't like. So I would say if you're willing to take a chance and try this game out, you can get it pretty cheap now. Try it out, even if you've never played the original, but I can't guarantee that you'll enjoy it. These last 4 titles here are games that I haven't gotten around to playing yet, but I'll just mention them anyway. Trauma Center Second Opinion. If it's anything like the DS games, you definitely gotta give it a try. It might sound weird, a surgery game with like anime characters, but it works really well, and it's pretty fun on the DS. SSX Blur, Metroid Prime Corruption, which I know I definitely got to get around to playing this one soon, and Mercury Meltdown Revolution.